Awesome. So coming into a cross leg, sitting up nice and tall, and starting to arrive to our practice. Feeling the sitting bones pressing into the mat, and feel the spine lengthen up towards the sky. Close down the eyes. And as you sit up nice and tall, notice, does the change in posture change how you feel? Noticing how you're feeling now. A little scan throughout the body to notice if anything feels tight or different. Notice if anything feels numb. And if there is any numbness there, send it some focus, some energy. Good to send those unconscious parts of the body some conscious energy. And now noticing the breath. Is it deep? Is it shallow? How are you breathing? Are you conscious of the breath? And now that we're here, start to come into our Anapana breathing. Equal portion breath. So breathing in and out through the nose only. Breathing in as slow, as deep as you can. And then breathing out the same amount of time. If you need to count the rhythm of the breath, count it. Aim for about 4 or 5 seconds on the way in and about the same time on the way out. Your drishti, or your gaze, with your eyes closed, is on the tip of the nose or your eyebrow center. Keep the gaze centered there and keep the eyes gently shut as long as you can in your yin practice, as you send your energy to the inside, away from the physical senses. Setting our intention for our practice tonight, self-compassion. Self-criticism asks, how can we be good? Self-compassion says, what's good for me? So thinking of all the different ways you can practice self-compassion, soothe your own suffering in a healthy manner, as we know how to practice compassion and care about and for other people, our jobs, our friends, but what does it mean to you? Taking 3 chants of Om to begin tonight's practice. For Om chanting, take a deep breath in. Inhale. Inhale. Just noticing the vibration of Om mantra as it stimulates the vagus nerve down the side of the neck, starts to bring you into rest and digest. Gently rolling into our first pose, into child's pose, but into a yin child's pose. So we're going to bring the hands down onto the mat. We're going to stay on the knees and tuck the toes to stretch the backs of the feet. Bring the hands right out the front and then try and bring the heart down, but leave the chest on the mat. So gentle gaze towards the front of the room. The hips are lifted up for this style of child's pose. So we're not sinking back onto the heels yet. We are stretching the backs of the toes, trying to bring the heart down. if it's accessible to you, you can gently gaze to the front of the room. So if you've got enough movement, enough flexibility in the back, you can look forward. Otherwise, if it's not feeling okay, just look towards the mat. Thinking of the heart sinking in towards the mat, and just start to come deeper into your breath. So using your Ujjayi breath now, soft raspiness at the back of the throat, the long line of the letter H, the soft ocean sound that we make in our yoga vinyasa. So it's that we make, loud enough for you to hear it, and perhaps a friend near you to hear it, and use it to anchor you in the practice as you come through flows tonight. Nice sounds, the long line of the letter H, ocean sounds melting to the mat. Counting out the breath, see if you can lengthen and deepen the breath. And we're here for a few minutes, so settle in. The practice of Yin takes time. We don't force the muscles open. We're coming into the fascia, the connective tissue like a giant spider web that surrounds your muscles. And the only way to open the fascia is time. 3 to 5 minutes is the science. And in this first pose, we will be here for 5 minutes. Just feeling the heart melt to the mat. Trying to avoid the thoughts of needing to try harder, needing to press or push. Just allow the pose to do you. Don't try and do the pose. If you find the mind starting to wander, give the mind a task. Get it counting. Zen Buddhist technique is to count backwards from 37. 37, 5-second Ujjayi breath comes in. 37, 5-second Ujjayi breath comes out. 36, 5-second Ujjayi breath comes in, and so on. If you forget where you've got to, start at 37 again and count backwards to 1. Now just noticing if discomfort begins to turn into pain this evening, rebound. Taking a position that feels natural to allow the sensation of pain to pass, and then bear back into the pose. So, discomfort is good. That means work's being done. Pain, allow yourself to rebound, let the sensation pass, and then come back into the pose. The difference between a rebound and a fidget. Fidget is unnecessary, unconscious movement. The body trying to reposition itself to find comfort. This we will discard. Rebound is a conscious movement to allow the passing of pain. This we can use. See if you can lengthen the breath now. Lengthen and deepen the breathing. Stay focused. Tip of the nose, eyebrow center. Here for another 30 seconds. Another 3 big rounds of breath. And on the final exhale, just taking your conventional child's pose. So bring the big toes together, bring the knees nice and wide, let the arms go loose. You can bring the arms beside the body, let the head come down. Find the most relaxed child pose that your body will allow. Take as much work out of the pose as you possibly can and allow your body to be completely loose. This is the first rebound. The stillness out of the pose. The break between pose is as important as the work. Just enjoy. Allow the sensations of nurture. Allow the sensation of the floor completely supporting your body. Try not to drift into unconscious breath. You're trying, in your yin practice, is your conscious pranayama, your conscious equal portion breath, using the ujjayi, keeping your drishti focus. Here for another 30 seconds. And very slowly, you're going to come into a kneeling position. So on the final exhale, just gently walk the hands in and roll up the spine very slowly. Dropping the hips to the right and swing the legs out in front. Moving slowly and then half the speed of what you think is slow. Taking the block and coming into our reclining butterfly. So first of our delicious counter pose. The block goes behind the scapula, in between the shoulder blades. And then the feet come together, the hands on the top of the thighs, and the head leans back. So making sure, and I'll come around and help support with you guys, make sure you found the scapula, the shoulder blade, and not coming into the back. So the idea of this pose, the reclining goddess, is to feel as lavish as possible. So that gentle opening, the shoulders starting to melt down outside, allowing the heart to open, stomach meridian, all the way down. trying not to switch off. Allow the breath to guide any thoughts into stillness. The more you focus on the breath, the less room the mind has to wander. Allow yourself to go inside, away from the physical sensations. If you notice anything out of the ordinary bubbling up from your consciousness, just bear witness. Don't engage, don't judge, just notice. Especially in some of these hip openers, this can bring up some unconscious, stored ideas, feelings. They're not wrong, they're just there. When we see them, the more we know ourselves, the more control we have over our life, and the deeper our ability to understand how to soothe ourselves and practice compassion. To allow yourself to be more creative with how you do good for you. Sometimes the old ways will stop working, so allow space for new ways to come. Here for another minute. Just letting the body be loose. Equal portion breathing. Focus the tip of the nose or the eyebrow center. Very simply, in another 30 seconds, after your next 3 rounds of breath, you're going to gently bring the knees together, roll to the right side, remove the block, and just lie flat for your rebound. Let any sensations just pass. Allow the stillness of the body. Allow the body to be flat. Hands down beside the hips, palms facing the ceiling. Try not to touch the thighs together. Try not to touch the arms onto the body. Get that complete separation of limbs, independent limbs, allowing a slight hollowness in the armpit. Not long here, so avoid completely tuning out. Can you deepen the breath? Can you lengthen your anapana breathing? Another 30 seconds. Another 3 rounds of breath. And on the final breath, we're going to gently bring the knees into the chest. Roll to the right side. And then use the left hand, the top hand, to press you up into sitting. And we're going to come into Hindi squat. So, coming up onto the feet a little wide. Bring the hands in front of the feet, palms facing up to receive. Now, if you find this a challenge, you can use the block underneath your seat. But we want to take all of the yang out of the pose. So if you're finding you need to switch muscles on to stay here, try switching them off first. Make the arms loose, drop them in front, palms facing the ceiling, round the head down. Allow everything to be loose to fall forward. And if you need the support of the block underneath the seat, go for it. But allow everything to be loose. If you're finding it hard to bring the heels down, perhaps place the block underneath the seat or take the feet wider. If you're finding it hard, if you need to switch the muscles on to balance, to sit up, perhaps use the block as well. We're here for another 2 minutes. Staying with the breath. Let everything loose. Let the head round. Feeling the heat in the room melt the spine like butter on a hot pavement. Everything melts towards the floor. Just allowing the body time allowing the fascia time to open. Here for another minute. Another 60 seconds. Noticing at your point of focus if any sensations arise on the tip of the nose or the eyebrow center. Again, don't engage, just be aware. Here for another 3 rounds of breath. And on your final exhale, you're going to roll up the spine into ragdoll. So, gently from your Hindi squat, lifting the seat, turning the feet forward, bending the knees as much as you need, hold elbow to elbow, and let the head hang. So bending the knees, place the belly on the thighs. If it hurts the hamstrings, bend the knees more. If you're finding it hard to breathe, take the feet wider. But let the head hang. So for some of us, this will be the most challenging pose of our practice. Allowing the body to be as still as you can here. You may find strong sensations. Remember, it's okay to rebound. A rebound here, you may want to stand up. You may want to sit down into Hindi squat. But remember, a rebound, try and make it as slow without breaking the meditation state of the mind. So try and synchronize your movements softly, smoothly with the breath. And letting everything hang towards the floor. This will be the challenge. Don't try and fight it. Just listen to your body. Is it discomfort? Discomfort is your friend. Is it pain? Pain is not your friend. Not here. So once the sensations pass, then come back to the pose. Allow yourself to decompress the spine. Only halfway through. So we're here for another 2 minutes, 2 and a bit minutes. Letting the head hang like a bowling ball in a sack. Feeling the breath in your 3-chamber breathing, feeling the belly, then the ribs, and then the collarbones. And as you exhale from the collarbones to the ribs, and then you pull the belly to spine. Keeping the core switched on throughout this ragdoll. Every time you exhale is a chance to pull the belly to spine. About now is when you're going to need to deepen the Ujjayi breath. This is when the challenge starts to get a little stronger. So breathe. Your breath is your anchor. Your breath is your savior. Follow the mind, you find pieces. Follow the breath, you will find peace. So follow the breath. Here for another 3 rounds of breath. And on your final exhale, take Hindi squat. Taking the feet as wide as you need, using the block if you need to. Bring the hands out the front and let everything be loose. Let the head round. Use the block if you need to. It's important to feel supported in your rebounds. It's important to allow the body to recover from the strength, from what you're opening, to allow those stronger sensations to pass. Here for another 60 seconds, just letting everything loose. Another 3 full rounds of breath. as we come out of this, we're going to slowly bring the hands down to the mat and take the right foot forward into a low lunge and take the left leg all the way back behind us. Bring the left knee down to the mat. So we're in a long, low lunge. So if you need to pad out that left knee, you can use your cow, or you can roll the mat over to the side and place it underneath the left knee. So remember, we'll be here for 5 minutes or so make sure that left knee is comfortable. Then making sure the right foot is in front of the right knee just. So the knee should be either stacked directly over the ankle or before the ankle, but not coming over the front foot. Now taking the hands both on the inside of the right foot and starting to lean forward. This is where the blocks become important. You can use the blocks now to place them onto your wrists, to your elbows. You can build a little bit of a support here for the head if you want to allow the head to roll. Now in this pose, if you feel comfortable in your right knee, you can allow the right leg to start to open and come up onto the blade of the right foot. So if the right knee feels comfortable, you can come up onto the blade. You don't have to, but if the knee starts to open in that direction, allow it. So allow it to go there. But the most important thing, use those blocks to get comfortable so that you can take all of the trying out of that upper part of the body and allow everything just to lean into the hips and allow that suppleness to open. Create that support with your blocks under the arms, under the head, whatever can alleviate the trying from that, from the arms. So again, if you find the knees starting to drift off to one side, or if you feel any resistance because you feel like you're coming out of alignment, as long as you don't have knee injury, you should be safe to allow the body to be as loose as possible. Again, if you find any short, sharp pains, give me a wave. But rebound if you need to. If you need to rebound, you rebound. Don't need to check. Here for another 60 seconds. Another 3 rounds of breath. Beautiful Ujjayi breath. And on the final breath, pressing back into that right foot and bringing yourself up out of the lunge. And we're going to heel toe the right foot to the left hand. So taking the right foot to the left hand and then dropping the right knee down, coming into half pigeon. So the right knee should be right next to the right wrist. Now that you're there, left leg is long behind you, nice and flat on the floor. Take the right knee as wide as you can comfortably. So take the knee outside of the hip line, so the knee is all the way wide. Then press into the hands, lift the pelvic floor and fold forward. Try and bring the belly down first, then the chest, and then the head. Now, if anybody has pain on the right knee, the pain shouldn't be there. So give me a wave if you have pain on the knee. If it's tight, that's something, but if it's painful, we have a different modification for you, which can bypass the knee comfortably and safely. So don't grin and bear it. Especially with the heat, you can overstretch ligaments if you hang out in those dangerous poses for joints lengthening. Everyone's looking good here. If you feel like you're starting to favour falling onto the hip or falling onto the buttock, you can use your blocks for support. So you can put a block underneath the back thigh or underneath the buttock, just to give yourself some support, to stay nice and square. Or you can just relax and go deeper into your pose. Here for another 2 minutes. Beautiful sound of the Ujjayi ocean at the back of the throat, softly washing around the room. A sign of yogis deep in your pranayama practice. They say the simplest form of love is paying attention. So paying attention to yourself is loving yourself. And loving yourself is self-compassion. What's good for you? It's different for every person, but allow yourself to dream what that could be. Here for another 30 seconds, another 3 rounds of breath. And what we're going to do on our final breath is to lengthen the right leg directly behind us and lie flat on your belly. So just on your final exhale, press the hands into the mat, send the right leg back and lie down on the belly. Bring the hands to the side, the body, palms facing down, and let the face lie, turn to one side. And just feeling all those beautiful sensations pass through the hips, through the legs, as the blood recirculates through. Notice if you get any little electrical impulses. So the nerve pain is generally a little short, hot, sharp, and that's what we want to miss, or we want to steer clear of. But if you get any cold electric shock type impulses, that's the sensation of chi, your life force, reconnecting through the nerves. It can be subtle, and sometimes it can be quite strong. So if you get those little cold ice shocks, don't be surprised. It's just the chi reconnecting through the body. Allowing the nerve endings to reconnect. Allowing the blocked prana, the blocked breath. Allowing any blocked emotions or thoughts locked in your muscles and in your fascia to recirculate through the system. Here for another 60 seconds, enjoy. Allow the breath to melt you into the floor. Allow the stillness to nurture your body. Here for another 3 full rounds of breath. And on your final exhale, just gently and slowly bring the hands underneath the chest. Press into the mat, into a little cobra, and then come up onto the knees, onto the hands and knees, and bring the left foot forward into your long lunge, and send the right leg back behind you, patting out the right knee if you need to, so the right leg goes as long as you can, making sure that the left foot is in front of the knee, so making sure the knee's not coming over the foot, and then taking your blocks, taking the hands on the inside of that left knee, and find your pose. Bring the elbows down onto the blocks, bring the head onto the block, whatever you need. Perhaps the left foot rolls out if your left knee feels okay. Perhaps it doesn't. Just allow that gentleness into the pose. Allowing suppleness into the pose. Allowing the effort to sink into the lunge, the effort to sink into that left hamstring, into the hips, and allowing the top part of the body to be as supple as you can, using your blocks as much as you can, allowing yourself to feel supported, and taking any yang out of the pose. Be as gentle as you possibly can. Staying with your breathing, noticing Does the manana mind kick in? The monkey mind trying to bring you out of the present? Does it wander? Do you need to task it? If you do, counting back from 37 to 1, 37, 5-second Ujjayi breath comes in, 37, 5-second Ujjayi breath passes out. Focus on the tip of the nose and the eyebrow center. Here for another 60 seconds. Another 3-4 rounds of breath. And on the final exhale, pressing the hands back into the mat. And slowly, slowly, heel toe the left foot across to the right hand and drop the left knee down into your half pigeon. Shin squared in front of the mat, right leg long back behind you. Make sure the left knee is wider than the hip. Press into the hands, lift the pelvic floor and fold forward. Keeping that right leg nice and long, so straighten out the right leg. And then rolling over onto the hip. Just noticing if you need the support of a block. If you have any pain on that left knee, give me a wave if you need to use the adjustment. But you should be focusing on that left glute. Here for another few minutes. Beautiful. Honor what you find in the body. If you have to rebound, honor yourself, rebound. Let the sensations pass and then come back into the pose when you're ready. Biggest gift that yoga brings us is the knowledge of self, the respect of self, the honoring of what you find inside you. This is your body, your pose, your yoga. Honor what you find, and your practice will be deep. Here for another minute and a half. Trying to avoid any unnecessary physical chatter, physical clutter, fidgets, and allow the stillness or the rebound and the breath to be the practice. Remember, it's yoga practice, not yoga perfect. We're just practicing. Here for another 60 seconds. Another 3 deep, full rounds of breath. And on your final exhale, we're just going to send the left leg back underneath and lie flat on your belly and turn the head to the other side. Balance out, bring the hands beside the body, palms facing down. Feeling everything loose, feeling everything numb. Only here for a short rebound. Next 60 seconds. Avoiding the temptation to drift off to sleep, but notice if your consciousness starting to hit those beta pathways as if you're starting to enter the dream state. The body is asleep, but the mind is still awake. Here for another 3 rounds of breath. And then very slowly, in half the speed that you think is slow, we're going to bring the hands underneath the shoulders and press into a slight cobra. Again, back up onto the knees. Sitting back onto the heels this time. And then turning to face the Japanese wall. Coming into our wide-legged forward fold. So having the block handy. Placing the block underneath your seat. Once you're sitting on the block, taking the legs as wide as is comfortable, and then just move the sitting bones so that they drop off the front edge of the block. Take the hands on the thighs, roll the meat of the thighs back to the back of the room. Lift the hands up nice and high. Keep looking at the Japanese wall and start to lean forward. Once you're at your maximum, drop the hands onto the floor. And then just start to melt down, bringing the elbows down if you can, if that's accessible. If you have a block handy, you can put a block underneath your wrists or your elbows, or you can put it under your chest or your belly. If the block falls out of your seat, that's fine. Just letting everything hang nice and loose. Let the head round down. Don't worry if you're feeling tight here, just allow the suppleness into the top part of the body. and allow the pose to do you. Don't try and do the pose. It's only time and your breath that will allow the body to open this way. Allow the breath to deepen, lengthen. Allow the head to fold and round. Here for another 45 seconds. Another 3 full rounds of breath. And then very slowly bringing yourself back to sitting. And in your own time, your own way, bring the legs back to the front of the mat. And finishing in reclining butterfly pose tonight. So bringing the block, placing the block behind your shoulder blades, bring the soles of the feet together, place the block, open the arms, down beside the heart, resting on the thighs if you like, lean the head back. And finishing our practice in our reclining goddess pose. Allowing the shoulder blades to support and open the shoulders to the side. Using a block to support the head if you need to. Give yourself a little more support. Finding it hard so that the head comes to the mat. So the Buddha tells us compassion is incomplete or insincere unless it begins with the self. And the Dalai Lama tells us, if you wish to be happy, practice compassion. And if you wish others to be happy, practice compassion. Therefore, your happiness and the happiness of those around you is directly affected by your ability to have self-compassion. So what does it mean to you? What are all the things that you do that are good for you, that relieve your suffering and pain? Some of the old ways might not work anymore. If you've run out of ideas, start dreaming. Now letting go of all those ideas, and remember a time in your life where you were suffering. Someone recognized it and you accepted their compassion. So maybe the embrace of a parent after you having a broken heart, or maybe something simple like stubbing your toe and the knowing glance of a passing by stranger. Maybe the strong shoulder of a work colleague after a busy day. But remember how it felt to accept and receive the compassion, to embrace the compassion. Safe, supported, held. Breathe in and grow these feelings. And now grow the feelings into a gentle smile on your face. Let the lips curl, let the eyes crease. Bring the feeling into your physical body. And as you exhale, let the smile move through your body. Through your eyes and your cheeks, through your jaw, lighting up the inside of the head like soft candlelight, flowing down the shoulders, flowing into the arms like little golden waterfalls kissed by the sunlight. Filling up the arms and bubbling into your chest and your heart. Feel that warm smile in your heart space. And as you exhale, it flows down the belly, the spine, the hips, the thighs, the knees, your shins and calf, into your feet and toes. And as you breathe in, the whole body beams and glows with the warmth of compassion. And as you exhale, everything fades like a setting sun until all that remains is your breath. Gently start to deepen the breathing. Very slowly wiggle the fingers and toes and bring the knees together. And roll onto the right side. And then use the top hand to slowly press you up into sitting. Keep the eyes closed if you can. Bring the right leg in front of the left. Find a cross leg. Bring the hands on the knee in mudra, touching the thumb and first finger, hands up to receive or hands down to ground. Feel the spine lengthen and all the liquid formation roll to the hips. Taking one chant of Om to honor ourselves, each other, and the happiness that comes from our self-compassion. For Om chanting, take a deep breath in. Placing the right hand on the left shoulder. Place the left hand on the right shoulder. Feel the embrace. Repeat in your mind's eye, I deserve to be happy. I deserve to feel love. And I deserve to have what is good for me. I deserve to feel happy. I deserve to feel love. And I deserve to have what is good for me. Slowly bring the palms into the heart. Press the palms. May we learn new, creative and fun ways to practice self-compassion this week. It's an honor to practice with you guys. Have a beautiful night. Have a great sleep. And together we say, Namaste. Thanks, guys. Went a little bit over time, I hope that's all right.